I'm Amy.
And I'm Laura.
And we are Twopapergirls.
Today we're doing the I Messed Up book tag, which was started by ReadLikeWildFire, so we'll leave her channel down below. We weren't tagged by anyone, but I saw Leah from Drums of Autumn do this tag and I thought it was just really cool questions, because tags can get a little bit samey, so it's nice to find one with like original cool questions.
These questions are about when you've been reading a book and you mess up in some sort of way. For example, question 1 is a character appearance that you misread and imagined differently.
My answer for this is Jem from the Infernal Devices, because I've only read the first book, and I think Will Herondale's on the cover of that for Clockwork Angel. And then Clockwork Prince I thought was Jem because it doesn't look the same as the first one. But then Jem's described as being like Asian but really pale with like blonde silvery hair, and I imagine him like with kind of shoulder length brown hair. I can't even imagine him how you meant to imagine Will. I just completely and even though I read the description I was like, oh okay, that's what he looks like. I just can't really imagine him like that in my head for some reason. I just can't shift. I don't know, it just isn't what I was expecting of his character because I thought he was on the book covers, so yeah, I just can't get that character image out of my head.
I couldn't imagine Tom Ward from the Spook series. This is going back ages. I don't know anyone who's reading these at the minute. They're really old books. I was reading them when I was like 7. And the main protagonist, Tom Ward, I imagined him like this guy who used to go to our secondary school because he just looked a bit like he was from the old country and he was blonde and quite short but skinny but not too skinny. And Tom's meant to be like brown haired, like dark hair, like tall, lanky, and that's just not how I imagined him.
Question 2 is a character name that you've been pronouncing wrong.
I recently read Wrath in the Dawn by the author name that I keep pronouncing incorrectly. I think it's Rennie Adaya, something like that. The main protagonist in that is called Scheherazade, which is like the story of when she tells the story to the king every night so he doesn't kill her in the morning, with obviously the Wrath in the Dawn. And I just pronounced her name as like Shardaz or something like that because I didn't know how to pronounce it. It's got H's and Z's and R's everywhere and not enough vowels.
A name that I always got wrong was Kale from the Throne of Glass series, because when I read Throne of Glass, it wasn't really that hyped up yet on BookTube, and I hadn't heard anyone talk about him specifically, and I pronounced it Chowl in my head for like the whole first book. He was Chowl, just because I just didn't know it was like the CHAO was meant to be like chaos. I just completely didn't get that, so I just thought it was like Chowl or something, Chowl. And then I heard lots of people say it on BookTube, and I couldn't get Chowl out of my head for so long, but eventually I heard Kale so many times, and then when I read Crown of Midnight I read it that way, so now I know his name's Kale.
That one makes me laugh quite a lot.
Yeah.
Question 3 is an overused trope that is your guilty pleasure.
My answer for this is when you have a main protagonist in a fantasy one, like a fantasy book, and they tend to have magic, and they're like, have more magic than anyone else, and I know that's really cliche, but like obviously Harry Potter and Throne of Glass, and I just like magic. As soon as magic's introduced into a fantasy book I get really, really excited. And yeah, it tends to be that the main protagonist has like more magic than anyone and secret hidden powers, and I should hate it but I love it.
Mine isn't really a trope, but I just tend to like books that are written like really pretentiously. Like I know some people hate that and that's why it's kind of turned into a bit of a trope, like John Green's writing seen as pretentious. I don't think it is. And Jan Martel, like he wrote Life of Pi and I'm reading The High Mountains of Portugal, he writes like he's the best writer in the world, like that Kazuo Ishiguro as well. He writes like he's a pretentious knob, but I really like it. It's one of my favourite things to read.
Question 4 is a cliche character type that you like better on screen than reading about.
This took me a while to think of because I was like, tropes in films? Then I was like, I've got one. From Me, Earl and the Dying Gods, the example I'm going to use, when Earl and Greg fall out and best friends arguments, I don't really like that in books. It feels like it gets in the way. I don't like it when the main characters usually argue and fall out. I'm just like, just make up so the story can progress, please. But in films I quite like the drama, so I'm going to go with like best friend arguments.
Mine is insta-love, because I really, really hate it in books when it's like they meet eyes across a classroom or a bookshop or something and then they're instantly like drawn to each other and then they have really like cheesy conversations. I quite like that in films, to be honest. It annoys me in books, but in films it's just quite cute. Like, because films are a lot shorter than books. Like, you can just watch a film in an hour and a half and a book takes like 5 hours to read. In a film, they've got to progress the love story quicker, really, so it's quite cute when they like bump into each other and have eye contact and it's all exciting. I like it in films, but in books I really hate it.
Question 6 is, have you ever not read or completed a required reading book for school?
I've got quite a few of these, not for school or A-level, I was pretty good at keeping up with it then, but at uni when you get like a book a week, I couldn't really keep on top of it. And for a module, I recently did Shakespeare on the Stage. I didn't read a lot of those. I didn't read Coriolanus, Much Ado About Nothing by Shakespeare. Twelfth Night, there was a lot of Shakespeare plays, there was a lot, but also in first year, books I just wasn't interested in, like Dubliners and What Maisie Knew. Didn't read any of those.
I didn't read Dubliners, and I didn't read Road to Compare this year, or not What Maisie Knew, or Zadie Smith on Beauty, because it was just a modern reworking of a book I've already read and not particularly like, so why would I read that? But generally, I read quite a lot of set work, so I'm quite happy with that.
Question 7 is, have you ever or wanted to skip a chapter from the point of view of a character that you weren't interested in?
I've done this quite a lot. Generally when it's a multiple like narration, I generally hate one person. Like I did it a lot in the Gone series with someone, I can't remember who though because I read it so long ago. But definitely recently with Game of Thrones, I skipped all of Caitlyn's chapters because I just can't stand her.
I don't think I've ever skipped someone's chapters specifically, but I'm reading Air of Fire at the minute by Sarah J Maas, and I don't like the Manon point of view. I don't hate it, but I've heard that it carries on in Queen of Shadows, and it just feels very separate and random, and I'm just not really invested in that yet. I mean, I might later on, but at the minute I'm not skipping it, but I'm tempted because they're just really long and boring.
The last question is, have you ever cancelled social plans to read a book?
I don't think I've ever actively cancelled social plans,
neither.
because I tend to want to do the social plans, but sometimes if I'm really near the end of a book, I really want to stay in and read it, but I don't think I've ever I've maybe begrudgingly gone out even though I've got 50 pages after a really good book, and then I'll just finish it later, but I don't think I have actually cancelled.
I don't think I've ever done that. I think you have to be a bit weird to do that. Just read when you get back.
So that's it for the I Messed Up book tag. We hope you enjoyed it. We should tag people, but we haven't thought about that, so we'll leave some people down below and message you on Twitter if we tag you to do this, because it's a cool, pretty new tag.
I quite like this one. That was pretty fun. So we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.